Yeah, I mean, you remember the time when OpenAI signed all those deals for 10 gigawatt capacity?
Yep.
Well, things have changed. The momentum has shifted towards Anthropic in a big way. And now we see this deal, which really is a reflection of the momentum that Anthropic has generated from coding agents, from enterprise. In fact, Anthropic's revenue has tripled from 9 billion to 30 billion in a span of 4 months.
What?
This
I've never
is
seen this,
breakneck
dude.
growth that we have never seen, at least till the time that I've covered this space. And now they are short of compute capacity. So they're signing all these multi-year deals to secure compute.
Okay, so this might be like a basic question for someone who follows AI so closely, but is this all because people want to use Claude, like Anthropic's Claude versus OpenAI's ChatGPT? I'm still using ChatGPT. I don't know if I'm very behind.
Well, so it all comes down to use case and what Anthropic decided, which in hindsight, and hindsight is just a week's here, seems to be a very smart move, is really double down on coding agents as a use case. And this is really, tools that developers use to complete their code, write full-on code, that can save them hours. And now Anthropic has got 1,000 enterprise customers that are paying over $1 million plus each in a span of weeks. They've landed all these customers just for one tool, one product that they conceived in weeks. And they've been able to ramp that up so fast.
So who are the peers for Anthropic again? Just remind me, because I need my flow chart to remember who's who here. Who are the peers or who are the competitors for Anthropic?
I mean, on the coding side, you can think of names like Atlassian. They used to manage code, and coding agent is a new category. So when you think about, an agentic AI that's solving code end to end, this is the use case that everyone was waiting when they were asking the ROI question. This is the ROI that they were looking for. And think of the CapEx for 2027 now that we have seen this revenue ramp from Anthropic. I bet you 2027 CapEx numbers are going up.
When are these companies coming public? When can we see them? Because I don't even know who these people are.
In the back half of the year. And with
so
this...
So it'll be Anthropic, you think, maybe?
Anthropic, for sure. I will be very surprised if they don't use this opportunity.
ChatGPT, is that...
OpenAI. But OpenAI has got some trouble now. There was a point when OpenAI was the clear leader.
Right.
They had the best growth. Well, Anthropic has actually surpassed OpenAI in terms of revenue run rate. Just to put it in context, OpenAI raised money at $852 billion in valuation in their last private funding round. Anthropic was valued at $380 billion. So imagine a company growing faster, having surpassed OpenAI, was valued at half the valuation of OpenAI. So I would be very curious to see what is the next funding round for Anthropic look like. And I think they should narrow the valuation gap that they have with OpenAI.
And then what does it mean for Broadcom? Because we're seeing that stock higher, 3% today, but does Broadcom benefit from this long-term runway of
I mean, clearly anything touching Anthropic ecosystem right now should do well, whether it's Broadcom, whether it's Google. On the chip side, Google as a standalone chip company will have a sizable revenue from this Anthropic deal. And that's where, NVIDIA or anything touching OpenAI will probably see some headwind, at least on the back of this news.
How often does how often does this technology evolve? How quickly does it evolve? If I buy a piece of software today, or I'm not even sure what I'm buying. I'm not buying a piece of software. I'm buying some AI product.
Yeah.
How long is that relevant for before some new technology comes along and makes it irrelevant? I got to go buy something else.
These companies are releasing new features every week. In fact, this coding agent product, as I said, was consumed in a matter of weeks. And so the next model release from OpenAI could be, better than Anthropic. But the problem that OpenAI may run into is enterprise, contracts are very sticky. Once you start using a product and it's a new product, new category, you're not going to rip and replace. And that's where what Anthropic is doing with coding agents, it's going to be sticky revenue because companies are assigning $1 million plus contracts now. They're not just going to go back and start using OpenAI if their next product is better. So this is sticky. And that's why I think Anthropic has created a new category, whereas OpenAI was focused on the consumer side. They did really well with ChatGPT subscriptions, but they missed out on this opportunity in terms of focusing on coding agents and enterprises.